Hey, Chris Liepe here with special guest Will Ramos from the band Lorna. And in this video, we're talking about how to do harsh vocals all the time without hurting yourself.
First of all, before you start doing any vocals, it's very important to warm up. You need to warm up. That is, if you don't want to hurt yourself, warm up. That's not even step one, but that is, you need to do that 100% of the time. So make sure you do that, and then you can start to get into the actual things that make sure that you don't hurt yourself.
And if you want to know exactly how Will warms up and takes care of his voice, click the link below and join his free warm-ups course.
You're not going to regret it.
Okay.
One of the most important things when it comes to doing vocals is making sure that you are at a solid volume. And when I say solid volume, I don't mean there is no standard to volume control. Okay. At this point, we live in a world where there are microphones.
Right.
And, you know, we're not just like cavemen screaming out into the ether hoping that somebody can hear us. The point is to be very controlled. And that's what the most important thing is when it comes to doing vocals. You want to be controlled.
Don't just be loud, right?
Don't just be loud. That is a very common misconception is that people have, is that you want to be loud. And a lot of people, especially when they're learning how to scream, they're realizing that if I want to sound like I'm distorted, I need to be loud. But that's not the case. And and realistically, there's a lot of bands out there that do that. And that's totally fine. But you will also see that these bands will have days that are very off because they blow out their voice on tour. Maybe they need to take a day off. Maybe they just need, maybe that one day just completely they sound really not as good as they do the other days compared to like the first day on tour, and then give them like the 6th day on tour, and now they're just don't sound even nearly as good. And now then you see them live and you're like, man, this band sucks. Realistically, they don't suck.
They're slowly or quickly burning their voice out because they don't know how to not hurt themselves.
Exactly.
And that first thing, just pushing too hard by default, you want to wear out your voice? Just do that, right?
It's very important to find your sweet spot. I call it the sweet spot because it's different for everybody. Certain people are bigger people and they have bigger diaphragms, or they have a bigger system, and they can sound louder without even trying to sound louder.
So how do you know if you're going past the point of safe volume as you're learning?
You will definitely hear it. If you were you will hear it in your voice, because you will do vocals and then you'll get off. Let's say you could try those vocals for 5-10 minutes, and now you take a break for a second, and now you start to feel crazy over here in like this area, because what's happening is like you're pushing too hard from here. Your constriction up top can't properly support the amount that you're trying to push out, and then that's when your vocal cords start to get beat up and swollen, and then when your vocals are too swollen, then you can't really scream properly, and that's what makes vocalists not sound as good as they are the first day.
So when you have found the balance of airflow and volume that's sustainable so you won't mess yourself up, what I'm hearing you say is that you should be able to do it for long periods of time. Yes. If you have done it for 10 minutes at a time and you're feeling, there might be a placement issue off, right? But it could just be that you're not using your airflow right. You're going too hard, too loud. Finding that balance is going to take a lot of 10-minute sessions where you are messing up your voice. And so when you first start to work on these extreme sounds, you have to make sure that you're doing it in short increments until you found that balance. Listen to your body, go 5-10 minutes like you're saying. How do I feel? Should I go longer? Should I, well, no, I need to be done for today. And then the next day, find your balance or try to find that balance again. But you can't possibly answer the question of, well, how long should we be practicing this stuff? You have to listen to your body.
Yes.
And as you get this airflow thing down, as you learn those balances, it's like riding a bike and falling off the bike a bunch, right?
Yes. I've hurt myself a lot. Let's put it that way. When I first started, everybody does, because you need to find how to not hurt yourself.
But you haven't permanently hurt yourself because you've listened to your body and be like, okay, I did some stuff too hard. I'm going to back off. Okay, so.
And that brings me actually to my second point, which is another way to just make sure that you're always good with vocals is to take that break. You need that break. I'm telling you, everybody's different. Some people go longer than others. But like, if you need to take that break, really listen to what your body's saying. Because if you don't, you won't be able to do vocals the next day. And then whereas the next person can do vocals the next day because they listened to their body and they had a nice vocal rest. They slept. They didn't talk too much afterwards. Like, they really did the things that they needed to do. Because at the end of the day, somebody who can take those breaks they're going to make it faster to the end goal that you want to be at, because they're not over-accentuating themselves. Like, for instance, just like when you go to the gym, you're not going to go to the gym and then try and pick up 200 pounds without a workout.
Or you're not going to go to the gym and lift the same muscle group over and over and over again, and then 2 days in a row. You're going to vary it up, right?
Yes.
So having that rhythm of rest, work, building, tearing down, getting the balances, messing up, having that rhythm and understanding what that rhythm, including rest, means to you is going to help you for the long haul not hurt yourself. What's the third thing?
Stick to exactly the basics. Yes, you can go crazy and start overthinking things, but that's usually where you'll start hurting yourself, because you'll start trying to push from different places that, first of all, it might work out, but also realistically, you're going to burn yourself out. So it's very important. For instance, like how in a previous video, we were talking about how you do the growl, and it's just this. It's the constriction, it's the pushing, and then you're just letting it out. If you start overcomplicating it and thinking that it's something else completely, you're going to blow out your voice. And that's very important. Just stick to exactly what you should be doing, what you were taught previously, and then keep practicing that. And notice that while you're practicing it, your voice will change into the sound that you want it to automatically without you even having to think about it, because you're practicing. And that's the most important thing.
That's well said.
Don't be like, this is a guttural, so I'm just gonna, if I start like ripping my throat apart and it sounds like that means it's good. It's like, no, because when you do a guttural, it should never rip your throat apart.
So when you're in the zone, you're leaning into the differences in feels, not the differences in sounds, right? That's part of what's keeping you going. If you start paying too much attention to how everything sounds, you start manipulating things in a way that are going to burn you out faster.
Yes. I think it's important to know what you sound like, obviously, but that's when you already know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, they go hand in hand with one another. But if you're still just trying to feel it out, you don't want to just jump into something and start ripping your throat up thinking that's what I need to do to get the sound. Because I've done that for years. And at this point, you don't do that. I've learned. I have learned for you, so you don't have to learn the hard way.
Nice. Stick to the sensations. Stick to feeling what you're doing and put that before the desired sound.
Yes.
Trust the process, and as you lean into these sensations and how things feel, make sure things feel okay. The sound will develop over time as you get more and more comfortable leaning into those sensations.
Yes, and it's a very common misconception that people will think that they can just pick up, and I mean, maybe it has to do with just how we are as people now, but like a lot of people think they can just jump into something and just be amazing and they'll figure it out, but realistically,
it's never sound first.
It will never be like that. It will never, and it takes vocalists sometimes years to sound where they feel is very confident, where they can show up. It took me, I mean, I'm a slow learner, but like it took me about 6 or 7 years before I figured that I wanted to be in a band where I was confident enough in my own vocals.
Yeah.
And that's fine. There's not a race. Again, just make sure that, because if you race to the end, you might just hurt yourself, and then you'll be at the end, and now you can't do vocals anymore. Trust the process, do it the right way, and you will get better without you even realizing it. You can literally record yourself the first day and then record yourself a year later, and you will sound 1,000 times better.
So enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. Enjoy feeling your voice. Trust the process. The sounds will come. Ultimately, that's what's going to help you not mess up your voice, is if you're trusting the process and enjoying the journey instead of just trying to jump right in and make up for lost time. If you try to make up for lost time, that's one of the things that's going to mess you up.
Yeah, get more comfortable with your voice. It's your voice, not anybody else's voice. Your voice, and you handle your voice the way you should. Don't expect it to be anything else other than what you can produce.
If you'd like to go deeper with Will, learn exactly how he warms up and how he takes care of his voice on lots of different levels, click that link below and join the free Warmups course. We'll see you for more.
See ya.